This is the day the
Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it.
All right. Now, back to our the things I do for you. This is a little bit.
I wear them. It's Wednesday. Must be focused better.
The things I do for you guys. Okay, well now I got all excited and I put down my practice test number. Does anyone know where I put it?
We are Tevin Stutter's coming. You say he's performing the old Irish, right?
The Indiana legend, Tevin Stutter.
Tevin the Indiana legend.
Tevin Stutter.
Bro, when he dances in the videos, it's so funny because like all this is going. Like
You used to be my 40.
opposite.
You're 40 and
No, opposite 40. So like 60. Yeah,
you're 60.
60.
I lost my paper, which had my note on it. Where did we stop?
What's the difference between
It might as well be the
Boys and
open.
girls, now we're starting on problem number 10. Here we go. Problem number 10. If x plus 2 is one factor, find the others. All right, we know how to do this. What do we do? If they tell us this is one of the factors, how do we find the other ones? We use synthetic division. For problem number 10, what is going to go out in the box? Negative 2. Very good. All right, got that straight down. Everybody good? Now, we know we're supposed to get a 0 here. In this problem, that has to be a 0 because we've been told that's a factor. And factors give us zeros. All right, so step 1, synthetic division. What's step 2?
Factor or
Well, take what's left, which is x squared plus 10x plus 21, and factor it.
21.
So x plus
7
7 and 3. So these are the other factors. Now, if you went ahead and wrote this down also, I'm not going to mark that wrong. These are all the factors, right? They gave us this one, and they asked for the other ones. So technically, these are the answers, but that's okay too, because that's a factor. Everybody got it?
Yeah.
Remember that. Okay, now we're on to 11. The test is going to have one problem on it. It's either going to be like this. It's either going to be a direct variation or an inverse variation.
Right.
So the first thing you have to decide is, are you using this format or this format? Those are your choices. So you read your problem, and the very first sentence is going to tell you which one to use. Volume varies inversely as pressure.
It's okay over.
It's inverse. This is the inverse one. So volume varies inversely as pressure. Instead of y and x, we're using v and p. There is the first sentence. That's the equation we're going to use in the whole problem. Right? Okay. If the pressure is 12, the volume is 5. So K
You lost
equals 60,
Yeah.
and that is the sentence 2. And then find the pressure
So B equals 20 over
when the volume is 16. Wouldn't that be the setup?
the shell.
Then we'll bring the P over here. We're going to solve this. We're not confused. We're going to bring the P over and then divide by 16.
15 over 4.
Right? Then we'll reduce our fraction. So if we have a calculator, we can type that in decimal if we want. we don't, we can just reduce the fraction. So 4 goes into there, 15 fourths. So there would be the answer to the question.
Would y'all divide that by? I'm thinking.
Take the 4 out.
Alright.
All right? Everybody good with that one?
For sure.
You? All right. Now, list the possible rational roots. This is always a clue that you're going to probably have, not probably, you are going to have to do what? Guess. We're going to be guessing in this problem, okay? So,
It's 1.
oh, you already guessed? Well, let's
Factor
list
by
the possible
groupings.
rational
We
roots
can do
first.
factor by grouping.
4, 1, 8.
Oh, we can factor by group? I don't think so. Let's look at that. Wait, first let's list the PRRs. This is question A. Factors of 8
Oh no, I guess.
over factors of 1. There's your list. When you're going to guess, you're going to guess numbers that are in that list. Do not guess 3, do not guess 5. That would be a waste of time. These are the possible guesses. Okay? Is your hand up, Gretchen?
It's negative.
So, are we gonna have to do anything other than 100?
We haven't yet, so I wouldn't anticipate that. Okay, are we ready? All right, so we just pick a number and guess. Marquise says he thinks -1 might work. So I'm gonna go ahead and try -1.
Yeah.
Ooh, I think Marquise is right. Now, of course, when you're sitting there all by yourself and you're taking the test, you might guess a number that doesn't work, right? And then what happens? You just pick another number, right? You just keep guessing until you get one that gives you a 0.
That's my score. That's my score.
As soon as you get one that gives us a 0, we do what we did a minute ago. We rewrite this as x
Square.
squared
Minus 6x.
minus 6x
Plus 8.
plus 8.
So it's x minus 4, x minus 6.
And sometimes this factors, and sometimes it doesn't. If it factors, you can go ahead and factor it.
4, 2.
If it doesn't factor, then we have to use our quadratic formula. Remember, we've had problems like that. All right, so what does the question say? Find the factors. Now this one you have to be careful on. It says find all of the factors. Here are 2 of them.
Then x plus 1.
The other one is
X plus 1.
x plus 1. There are your factors.
Sketch that.
And then we're going to sketch it. Okay, so here's our sketch. How do I sketch it? What do I need to do?
Start down.
Points.
Points.
Well, wait, first I gotta put my dots on my number line.
4, 2.
Negative
So
1.
I'll have one at -1, one at 2, one at 4.
Remember the label, kids.
Yep, remember the label.
It starts down and ends up.
And it starts down and ends up, this one doesn't have anything fancy going on, it's just a regular old picture. Make sure you're going through. Don't add any extra squiggles. Some of you did that on your quiz. This is just a regular old problem. Cubes, this is what they look like.
Those real glasses.
No, but they do make it very freakish to see.
Can I see? Can I just try it real quick? Can I try it real quick?
Let me finish. They're Alice's, and then I'll let you finish. I want to go ahead and get this done. Number 13. Now, this one is going to be a little bit more of a wild and wacky sketch. But we don't have to factor it. All we have to do is graph it. So, tell me what to do here with this sketch. I'm going to start by plotting my points, right? So I'll have one at -1 and one at 2. Now, before I start connecting the dots, how many X's
4.
are represented up there? 4. 4 is an even number. It should start up, end up. So I should start right here. This is what it should look like. But, look right here. What does that do?
Flips it upside down.
Flips it upside down. So I'm going to come in from the bottom. Normally, x to the 4th would come in from the top.
It's an M.
But because there's a negative, I have to turn it over. It comes in the opposite way. Now, see that dot right there? That came from this factor, which is squared. So it's going to bounce down and then connect, right? See that factor right there? That bounces down.
That way.
So there is your picture. Somebody said it was an M, and whoever said that is right. It is an M. Okay?
Let's group this one.
And then we have one more, and you know what to do. It says factor and sketch. Now, does it say anything about PRRs?
Factor by root.
No. So, we probably don't have to guess. We probably can factor by grouping. So we're going to pay attention to that and see about that.
I have enough combo.
Okay? All right, so do we see some grouping here? Let's see. X squared. What's left when I take out x squared? X plus 2. Now what? Negative 4. What's left?
X plus 2.
X plus 2. They match. Now, this is where some of you mess up.
Because you think it's a...
Just write down x plus 2. Don't put it twice. Don't put a squared on it. Just write x plus 2. And then make another parentheses that has x squared minus 4 in it.
So X plus 2, X minus 2.
Which is x plus 2, x minus 2. Uh-oh.
You got two?
Uh-oh. We got 2 of them here that match, which means x plus 2 squared. Right? They match? So when I graph this, I'm going to have to pay attention to that. I have a dot at negative 2 and a dot at 2.
It's an odd number.
All right, it's an odd number, which is x cubed.
Start down.
And up.
So it's going to start down. There's no negative or anything, so I'm going to treat it just like always. So it starts down. Now, when it hits that point,
It bounced.
that came from here, right?
That's right.
So it's going to bounce right back down, connect. And then this one, it's going to go
Through it.
right through.
It's remixed up.
There we go.
Robotic. Looking at you.
All right, how are we there? We okay? Everybody good? All right, that's it for the practice test. I want to do, can I hand back your old test, but before I do that, I want to do 2 questions that you have, that think about everything on the test. Look back through, what do we need to touch base on today? Anything we need to touch base on from the last time we reviewed? Ellie?
I just have a question that's not in the problem.
Okay.
So when you do like find the vertex, axis of symmetry, and direction of B, can we choose if we do like the negative B over 2
Yep.
or the complete?
Yep, on the practice test, it says, the same thing it says on the real test, in the manner of your choice. You can do whatever you want. Now, the one problem that says, put in vertex form by completing the square, that one you have to complete the square.
Complete the square.
On the answer sheet, like for the back, the last 2 graph, do you have them going through like the line, the axis of the was like 0.
I plotted my y-intercept. Yeah, you don't have
Smoke
to
them
do
squares.
that. You don't have to do that. I did, because normally we plot all the intercepts, but I haven't. What do the directions say? I can't see any of this.
Can I see those glasses now?
It says
Read
bind
the
the
directions.
vertex and axis symmetry, but it's the
Okay.
one where it's like short.
Well, give me, so what's the equation? Okay, don't panic about that. Goodness gracious. Remember, well, let me change the numbers. Remember, remember that in any quadratic equation, any squared equation, what's hooked to the x squared is a, what's hooked to the x is b, and the plane number is c. It doesn't matter how many of those you have in the equation. A, B, and C are a is x squared, b is x, c is the plane number. So if something's missing, that's fine. That just means whatever that is zero. A is 0, B is 0, C is 0. So in this case, A is 5, B is -10. There is absolutely nothing different about this problem. The fact that C is 0 doesn't even really matter because I don't even use C in my formula, right? So x equals -b over 2a. So x is 1. Then I go back, this is my vertex, that's my axis of symmetry. So then I go back and plug my 1 in, square first, so you get 5 minus 10, so I get -5. So if I had an equation that looked like 2x squared plus 10, I do everything exactly the same. My A is 2, my B is 0, and my C is 10. Because B is always what's hooked to x. So then x equals -b. Well, wait a minute. -b is going to be 0. So x is just 0. Not undefined. It's 0. And then my x coordinate is 0 and my y coordinate would be 10 when I plugged it back in. So that doesn't matter. A is x squared, B is x, C is the constant, the number, no x, every time. Okay? All right, so let me hand back your old test then. You want to see it? And we'll do a little exam review.